Hey guys, what's going on? It's been a while and I have a new video for you today. I've got some recipes and I've also got some tips and tricks. So ADHD's been in the news a lot recently. There was a documentary on Netflix, there's been responses back and forth. I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but I will say that it's sometimes hard to cook when you have a hard time focusing whether or not you have the condition. You have kids, or you have a spouse, or you have somebody who's taking away your attention, and you need to have some tips to make sure that you get your cooking done. So I've already told you a lot of times that I do all my cooking in one day. I almost do all my cooking on Sunday afternoons. I cook all the food for the week. I put it in Tupperware, and then during the week, I just warm up the things that I want to have for dinner and for lunch. So that's one of the easiest things you can do. You can do cooking all at once. Your oven only has to preheat once. You can clean all your stuff a lot more easily. Planning out your meals is really important too. So if you know what ingredients you need to make certain recipes, you can have those ingredients on hand if they're ingredients that you like to have. So maybe you have 10 meal plans for 10 weeks, or you follow my meal plan, but you could have 10 meal plans and you could keep those meal plans in a rotation. So you have different things all the time, but you learn those recipes that you become good at. One of the things people have trouble with also is timing. They forget that they have a timer going, or what the timer's for and what they're supposed to do. So one of the things you'll notice that I do in my video is I set a timer and I name it. So on your phone you can say things like, hey Google, or hey Siri, or whatever. Set a timer for 10 minutes called food, or called beef, or called vegetables, or whatever the thing is that you want to do. And so that specific timer will have a label and you'll know what it's for. One of the things that you can do is do things ahead of time that otherwise you're told to do during the recipe. So if you need to make a sauce for your chicken while it's in the oven, you can make the sauce ahead of time so you know it's ready and you don't need to be worried about getting it done while the chicken's cooking. You can cook a lot of things that you don't need to check on much too. Some things you just throw in the oven and it cooks. You don't need to open it back up and flip things, or you don't need to stir anything, or that kind of thing is probably one of your best recipes, or things that you just put together and you're done. Things in a crock pot are fantastic. You just put everything in the crock pot and you turn it on. Another thing you can do is get stuff that's pre-made. You can get lemon juice that's already in a bottle. You can get spice mixes that are already all mixed up. So that way, you need lemon juice, you just squeeze the bottle. You don't need to go see if you have lemons that maybe they've gone moldy. You don't have to find your lemon squeezer or whatever it is you need to do. You just have the things right in hand. It's a little more expensive sometimes, but I think it saves you a lot of time and wasted effort. Next up is about 8 minutes of condensed video, where in 26 minutes I made all the food I needed for the week. Now, in this case, I only made 2 pieces of chicken. I usually would have actually made more. I made 2 pieces of fish, but it was just for the demonstration purposes. So you can make as much or as little of any of these recipes as you want. We're going to make guacamole. We're going to make spinach and mushrooms, or you can use any kind of other vegetable that you want just to steam saute them. We're going to make some sweet and sour pork loin. We're going to make some steak, some tuna steaks, and also some chicken. If you like what you see, you can check me out on @PrimalMealPlan on Twitter and Instagram, Primal Meal Plan on Facebook, or also if you want to support me, you can check me out at Primal Meal Plan on Patreon. Thanks. So the first tip we're going to talk about is using mise en place dishes. These are basically just little cups, and you put your ingredients in them ahead of time, and it makes sure that you have everything you need before you start cooking. I don't really use them a lot during this demonstration because I had all the ingredients just off camera, and I didn't really measure a whole lot for these recipes, because that's the other tip, is make recipes where you can just kind of slop stuff in. The next thing I want to talk about is using your cell phone as a timer. You can put in an amount of time. Here I put in a minute, and then I change the title of the timer to chicken. So now I know that when the timer goes off, it's the chicken. Then I said, hey Google, set a timer for 1 hour called beef. And it set a timer for 1 hour called beef. And you can set multiple timers with multiple names. So the first thing we're going to do is make some stuff that I call quick guac, or avocado salad. is just avocados, tomatoes, salt, and lemon or lime juice, depending on what you want. So here I am slicing up the avocado. Slice it kind of into cubes in the skin. You can just do a crosshatch, and then you scoop it out with a spoon. Put in 3 avocados to 1 tomato, but you can put in whatever ratio you like, depending on how much tomato or avocado you like. So here's that pinch of salt that I put in the cup earlier. And just a good squirt of lemon juice. Like I talked about in the intro, if you buy lemon juice in a container, it's just one less thing you have to worry about, so that's an easy way to save time. Mix it all up. If you mix it hard, it'll be kind of smooth. If you mix it light, it'll be chunky. So I took this pan out of the oven where it had been already, where it was preheating, put in a container of mushrooms, let those start to cook down with a little bit of salt. Meanwhile, in order to save a little bit of time, I started making the sauce that was going to go on the fish. So I added some lemon juice. Some garlic. If you crush garlic with the side of your knife, it'll be much easier to peel. Make sure your mushrooms aren't burning. Some capers. Now I put the spinach into the pan and wilt it down. This is some flavored olive oil, so that saves you some time having to add herbs or anything, as the herbs are already in the olive oil. And that is done. So that's mushrooms and spinach. Add a little bit of olive oil to the lemon juice and capers and garlic. Blitzed it in a blender. Now I put 2 tuna steaks in the pan. Add a little bit of sauce on the top. Cook them. You can see the white line at the bottom is kind of starting to go up the side. Then I flipped it. The white line at the bottom is starting to go up the side, showing it's cooked. Now I put it in the oven for a few minutes to get cooked all the way through. Now we have pork loin. I added honey and some regular vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar, white wine vinegar, whatever. I mix it all up. Now I'm taking the pork loin, cutting it in half so it fills up more of the pan. Pour the sauce over it and put it in the oven. Took out those tuna steaks, those are done. Pan's still hot. Lay a regular ribeye steak, salt and pepper, down in the pan. Ribeye is good because it has a lot of marbling, so the fat keeps the meat nice and tender. Meanwhile, put it in the pan, get a little bit of butter. Put that butter in the pan with the steak. About 1.5 to 2 minutes per side. Then stick it in the oven for another few minutes until it's medium rare, which is about 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the thickness of your steak, maybe 4 if it's a particularly thick steak. So I started with 2, and so I said, hey Google, set a timer for 2 minutes called steak. So there's my 2-minute timer. While that steak's in the oven, I grabbed just 2 chicken thighs. You can make as many thighs as you want, or breasts, or wings, or legs, or whatever kind of chicken you want, but just toss them on a pan. And I have 2 spice mixes. You can buy spice mixes at all kinds of spice places or grocery stores, and all kinds of different salt-free or spicy or herbal or whatever, so you can pick a couple different kinds and use them, and just like with the lemon juice, it's already pre-prepared, so it's a lot easier for you. The steak was in there for about 2 minutes, came out. That should be about medium rare. So for all the cooking, I used the cast iron skillet, a couple mise en place dishes, a blender, a spatula, 2 cutting boards, and a couple utensils that I threw into the dishwasher for mixing things, and the tongs. So for everything to cook for the entire week, it took me about 10 or 15 minutes to do the dishes, so it was very easy. The cooking pan in the oven didn't even need to be cleaned because I put the foil on it. So I'd recommend that you do all of your cooking all at one time, so that way you only have to clean up one time. If you've enjoyed this video, I would love your support on Patreon, and subscribe and like and do all those YouTubey things. Thanks guys.